All right, so thanks for coming in. I haven't met everybody yet, but we'll chat after. I'm Andy, I run the data school. So this is by far the hardest week at the data school, I think, or the most stressful. Lots of head nods. Nina thought it was fun, but she's a little odd. But basically the way that Dashboard Week works is they get a new assignment every week. It's almost like a project every day. And the first 4 days of the week, we started with NBA data in day one. Day two was wine and beer. Day three was public transport. Yesterday was foods from the USDA, like what foods are composed of and things. And then today was global temperature data. So the first 4 days, they actually had to go get the data as well. So they had to use Alteryx to find an API or somehow kind of prepare all the data themselves and then build a dashboard after. Tuesday morning, they presented Monday morning's dashboard. Wednesday morning, they presented Tuesdays, and so on and so forth. So the time gets less and less. Today, I was nice to them, and I didn't make them do any data prep. So, but they still somehow managed to take the whole day. So basically, the moral of the story is however much time you give people is how much time they'll take. So I think that's kind of the way things work. Isn't that about right, generally? Yeah, if you give somebody a week to take for a project, it'll take them a week. If you give them a day, it'll take them a day. Yeah, so anyway, it's all about getting them to work quickly so when they start their placements, they can work a lot faster. They're used to working quickly. So what they're going to present today is one of their dashboards from earlier in the week, their workflow plus their dashboard from earlier in the week, their choice, and then also what they built today. So today they had from about 10:30 to 11, something like that, until 3 o'clock. So they have about 4 hours today to work on the project. So, all right, so first up is William. Yeah. Let me give you control. Yep. So William, presenter. Oh, let me move the speaker.
I don't think you shared.
Oh, I got it. Okay, sorry. Oh, jeez. Okay, there you go.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Will. So I'm going to actually start by showing you what I make today because I was actually not really inspired and it's a little bit underwhelming. So I'd rather end on the viz that I think actually was nice. So I'm first going to show you the one for today, which was
making excuses before you even get started.
Yeah. Give me loaded. So we had access to this massive database with millions of rows that has daily temperature data for all countries in the world since 1863. So it's just this massive table with, just full of information about the temperature in each month for each country, what they just said. So this is the dashboard that I ended up making. So it's really, really simple. So all it's looking at is, so the top line is the average maximum temperature, and the bottom line is the average minimum temperature. And so this is just showing the range of those temperatures. The black dotted line in the middle is the average. And so what I've done is I've actually split the years into sort of the period in which they fell. So to sort of make it easier to understand sort of how global economic cycles affect temperature increases. And so if I just go, for example, to the United States, you'll clearly see why that's a bit more interesting. So if I just find it right here. So you can see for the US during the Industrial Revolution, the economy really kicked off. And so you can see how the temperature really increased extremely rapidly in just about 20 years. And how after that it kind of leveled off. And how when we got to the information age, so when the economy was less focused on manufacturing and more on services, that it actually started reducing quite a bit. And so all you can do here is pretty much like any country that you could think of, and it'll just build all these charts for you.
Did you find any countries that were particularly interesting?
Well, the U.S. was mainly for the Industrial Revolution. Honestly, I haven't finished it not that long ago, so I haven't really looked at our menu. But Antarctica, So the problem I have with this one is that because of the way I've built it, Antarctica, shouldn't show anything.
Oh yeah, because they're all negatives.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all overlaid on top of one another. But we can still see with the average lines how much the temperature has increased in Antarctica over the past 2 years. So so that was just simple quite viz. The thing with these, when we don't have that much time, we go off of an idea, and if the idea ends up not being that well, or you can't build it, well, you don't really have any more time to start again, do something else. So that's why I ended up doing something that looks quite simple. So now going to the viz that I actually liked. So that was the one we had to make on Wednesday using transportation data. So the objective was really just to rebuild the metro map of a city of our choice, and then to look at daily ridership in that metro. So in general, it was actually really easy to find location data for all the stations, so the base of what we would need to build a metro map. What was more complicating was finding ridership information, so how many people actually go in each station every day. And so I ended up I've struggled for a while, and I ended up finding some information for the Washington metropolitan area metro. So here you have access to their API, so that's an online portal that allows you to contact their database, make a query, and get data back from them. And then also from this other website, I found just ridership data. So in 2015, the WNTA made a huge data dump where they just showed their own data about how many people use the metro every day.
And that was the only ridership data you were able to find right in that area.
And you'll notice that, so it took me a while to find this because this website is actually not secure, so I was pretty afraid that it was just a bunch of hackers trying to steal my data, but I had to find something, so I ended up going down that route, and it worked. So to get this to work, so if we go into my Alteryx workflow, so are you guys familiar with Alteryx at all, or?
Yes.
So
are you guys familiar with Alteryx? Yeah. Okay.
Right. So pretty much what I had to do, I
make your Alteryx screen a bit bigger, your icons a bit bigger.
Yeah, not that big.
That's okay.
Yeah. But pretty much all I'm doing is I'm using a formula tool. So here, every time to build each one of the API links that I'm recalling. So pretty much the way the API works is you have this one link right here, and I just need to, at the end, add a little part so that I can call it for each station that they have, so that then I can get information relating to that station and repeat that call for all the stations in the metro system. And so that ended up giving me something that looks like this, which for us at the data school is absolutely wonderful. These just little lines of weird code. But pretty much inside there's everything I need. There's a latitude, latitude, name, the line that it's on. And after that, it's pretty much just cleaning it. So this tool, JSON parse, allows you to just get something that looks like this. So you can start seeing some of the information at the bottom right down there. You guys probably can see it from over there. But pretty much when I was there, it was just a matter of just cleaning it up that I could work with. What I then had to do, if I wanted to be able to build the lines between the points on my map, so now that I had the lats and the longs, I could build an individual point at these coordinates on a map. But to join them in Tableau, you need to sort of build a pathing. So you need to tell Tableau, go from this station and build a line to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So you need to be able to tell it the order of the stations on a line. And so to do that, I had to call another API, which looks like this. So unfortunately, it wouldn't work in Alteryx, so I had to do it from their website. But that's pretty much what it looks like. So it tells me this is the first station on the line, it's this first on the line, then this is the second one, that's sequence number 2, and all the way until the last line. So thanks to that, then I had the pathing, so I could tell Tableau what the orders of the stations are on a metro line. So then, just going back into Alteryx, I then brought in that ridership data that I had. So it told me the average number of people who were in each station at different times during the day. So that was quite cool. So it was split in AM peak, PM peak, midday. So the key sort of moments of the day that you would be interested in looking at. And at the end, I had this one pretty data set that had all the stations, the ridership per period, where it was, and the lines that it were on. So everything I needed to build my map. And so now I'm going to show you just what the final product looks like. So I'm just going to go full screen. So what I ended up doing is just building 4 of the metro system maps. And the size of the bubble pretty much tells you the amount of people that were at the station or that passed through it at that time of the day. So what's quite interesting is that, or quite obvious I suppose, but in the morning it's all the stations that are more outside of the center, so probably where people live that are packed. Then they get to work, so everybody's in the center of town, so that's where it gets busy. And in the afternoon, people are probably just hanging around town, or they're starting to head back home. And at night, just the city is quite empty in general. What's actually quite interesting is I posted this online, and a few people who actually live in DC reacted to it and seemed to think that sort of these patterns are actually quite interested, and show that the way that the scheduling of the trains works in DC doesn't actually match this distribution. So that actually, I think it had something to do with these blue and red lines, but that yeah, pretty much it switches during the day, but the way that the sort of the density of the trains that goes through doesn't, and so like this sort of could help the metro system reassign the number of trains that they assign to each station during the day. So I started off as just a fun little project. I thought it looked quite aesthetic. Just from at first I had the backgrounds behind, but I thought it doesn't really matter. It's more the metro system itself. And well, little did you know that someone online would actually find it really interesting and just tag the WMTA in the post and tell them to look at this.
Yeah, cool.
Well, yeah, so that's
great. Any feedback? Feedback? Thoughts?
So the size of the box, sorry, is the difference between people coming in and out?
No, so if I don't think you'll be able to see the tooltip.
Riders, so it must be tap dance probably.
So I didn't have, it would be pretty much every time someone taps their Oyster card in a station and someone taps it out, that would count as one person has gone through, pretty much.
Right.
So it's just the average traffic going through a station.
On the pathing bit, how do you actually store that data in the table? So is it actually like an array in the data point? So the pathing, you got point A to point B.
Go back to your Alteryx.
Yeah.
How do you actually store that information?
Oh yeah, so it's really simple. So
one row for
so
each
just
path.
go back to this.
Okay, one row for each path. Okay.
Yeah. So if I just go back to, if I get rid of this. So as you can see here, so the cool thing here is that I could put in, so in the API, I could call the first station. So I'll just show you the API fully. There's a really useful API called path between stations. So it pretty much did exactly what I wanted. Here, the from station code, I would put the first sort of station on a line, and then the to station code be the last one, and then it would tell me all the stations you would need to go through to get from one to the end. So it would map out the entire metro line for me.
Yep.
And here you just get sequence number 0, so 1, 2, 3,
So
4.
tableau the order to connect the dots.
And then
So
if
one
I-
row is 0 to 1, and the next row is 1 to 2.
It means that it could just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called path and it has 0
So if you just look here,
Show your very last output.
If you see like the
it's
path
a bit
right there.
more, because then I join stuff, so it's a bit clearer here. But here pretty much what you can see, so code represents, I don't know if you can see it from all the way over there, but code is one of the stations, line is the full line, and so this is just a pathing, so it's telling you on this line, first you go to this station, then you go to that one, then you go to that one, and you just store that as a number sequence.
Okay.
And then in Tableau, there's just a little trick where I even have it open? Yeah. So what you do is you draw your map, and then you have to dual axis this latitude field. So does that exactly? Yeah. So it'll just put two maps on top of one another. One of them will have. So here, this one, I've set the mark type to a circle, so it'll draw only circles. And the other one, you set the mark type to a line, and then you drag that pathing that you've drawn, so just that list of number, that sequence, onto path, and it'll just instantly draw the path between those dots. But that's what you have to do it, or else Tableau will just kind of randomly link things together. So that's why you need to tell it where the pathing is, so it draws from the correct circle. Yeah, and that took me like 5 hours to that pathing stuff.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah. So yeah. And yeah.
If you were to keep working on it, what would you sort of your overlay behind it that you might think would add to the to the reader to sort of provide any useful information? Is it something you would sorry?
You mean from the dashboard
You mean
itself?
on
Is there anything
you mean behind
the map to
Yeah.
help the reader?
Yeah, so someone actually suggested, which I thought was a good idea, would be to overlay the actual metro system, so behind it. So for people that actually live there, so the one big problem is that a lot of these stations, especially in DC, a lot of the lines run parallel to one another. So if this is a blue, it's actually both the blue line and the yellow line go through it. So it actually, you can't really tell as much, but the yellow line goes pretty much the entire city. But I could only color each of these dots in one color, so you can't see all the lines as well. So if I overlaid the map behind it, you could much more clearly see all, the full lines. So that's definitely one thing that I would add in. It's just sort of a toggle, so you could add, put the actual metro map as it looks on a map behind it. And the second one is I found another data set that tells you just the number of people that go through each station every 15 minutes. And the only problem is that I really haven't figured out how I'm going to link that to this. But so then you could have really, instead of having it sort of an average per weekday, you would really have in 15-minute increments how many people go through each station, and that would be really the best part.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a London tube map that's like visualized, and you can kind of see it looks like a heartbeat. I think it's called the heartbeat of London or something like that. Have you seen that map?
The blood flowing along the line.
Yeah, and it kind of you can see everybody coming into the middle and then going back out. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
So I
is that
could
what you're thinking of?
Well, I was thinking more additional data sets, so like maybe you could overlay population densities. Or something
Residential.
to give some relevance to the. So you've got a big.
Based on the time of
You've got a
day,
big block.
Yeah.
You've got a big block. There's not much population there. There's a stadium, or there's other people you can draw.
Absolutely, That's what at first when I didn't have the ridership data, because it really took me a while to find that data set, that's what I was going to do. I was going to look at each neighborhood, the population, the density in it, and then the percentage of people who use the metro system, and use that as a sort of proxy for the amount of people who use the metro system.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I found a data set, so I didn't have to do that. But it would, you could totally
part of it's
just
also
link
the
the
time
two.
constraint they were put under. So
That's why I said
I gave them a specific requirement to understand ridership.
That's why I said if you were to carry on.
Sure.
But that would be really cool. Yeah, overlaying population density would be quite.
Because it's quite easy, you could have it as a map layer, but I think the thing is you were trying to go with the simple design so you could focus on the networks, but Inform Tableau just turn on the map layer population density because he's doing the US, so they have that.
Yeah, exactly. I could just add that on. Yeah.
It would take 2 seconds.
Cool.
Cool.
Good job. Well done. All right. And Eva says, stop apologizing. So,
It's too Canadian.
it's too Canadian. Elena, looks like you're next.
Do we have the right cable?
No, you don't need to. I just present on GoToMeeting.
Hello, my name is Elena, and today I will present to you the 2 projects I did. So the project today let me start from today first, was the temperatures over the world, and are they rising or falling? So this is what
Can you
I
stick
did.
it in presentation mode?
It's not, okay.
There we go.
So you can see I went with the overall view, so I didn't focus on a certain season or a certain region. So I wanted to see how the temperature was moving from year to year. So at the top here, on this line, we have all the years that we have measurements for, coming back all the way to 1834, 33, and all the way till today. So you see that some of the temperatures were very different at the beginning of the last century, which started gradually changing.
Yeah, I think some of that's data collection as well, because some of the
Maybe,
countries, I think only the US, or I think Belgium also goes
like
back to
Sweden.
1800s. There's not very many that go
Africa
back.
doesn't have measurements.
So once Antarctica comes in, halfway through the data set, immediately the temperatures are going to drop, right? So I think you have to keep that in context as well.
Over here, we have the centuries as well. So the orangey yellow color is the 20th century, and the purple one is the 19th. So it shows that there's a difference in the temperatures. And here at the bottom, you have the difference from min and max temperatures per season. So you have a line here for each month. On the side, on the map, you can actually focus on a certain country that you would like to look at. The UK doesn't have published data in this data source, but if we look at, let's say, the US, both tables will change to show the information for the US. So you can see that the trend is, as we said, similar to the rest of the world, where this century is a little bit warmer. If we exit that. Okay.
Can you click on Antarctica, because I think that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have measurements, let's see.
Obviously, the southern hemisphere, so the temperatures are reversed, but
1965 is the first.
so not as
measurement.
many. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks quite different than the southern.
It's interesting to look at southern hemisphere. So maybe is Australia in the data set?
I think it is, yeah.
So it should be the same way, right? Yeah, but not as big of a dip, right?
But again, you have higher temperatures at the top.
Right. Cool, I like the design of that.
Yeah, I love the colors for this one. It's rare that you get to like play around the colors. Any questions about this?
The line chart, is the purple and orange, that's the colours for the year, is that right? So the closer it gets to the more orange it gets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think you've used purple and orange.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, you probably
Yeah.
should have used. Yeah, that's right, because it makes it look like it's the same thing as the temperature, doesn't
It does look pretty, but yeah, I was just
Yeah.
yeah.
So what he's saying is you're using purple and orange for your temperatures in the
Yeah.
map and in the heat map at the top, but that doesn't mean temperature in the line chart.
Right.
So probably should have used maybe a single scale of maybe just one color that goes from lightest to darkest, in darkest more recent or something like that.
Yeah, shades of grey in this case might work.
Maybe, yeah. Makes sense, yeah, I didn't think of that. Sure, that's the first step.
What's the bottom left, sorry?
The bottom left.
I've got bad eyes.
The bottom left, this chart.
Yeah, what
Here we have the temperature per month. So here we have the minimum temperatures, the medium minimum temperatures, and here the medium max.
And each dot represents a year within those months.
You can
Oh,
go
I see, right.
and
So it
look
might
at
have been better
all
to
the-
actually show that as like a cycle plot instead. So maybe instead of them being dots, they could have been lines or something.
Oh, I see, okay.
This would be like every year
Hmm.
in the past century.
But what the trend line shows on there is it increasing or decreasing that month?
This dark grayish one.
It's kind of hard to see from the back, but you can.
Yeah.
There's a trend line going through the middle, which will be sequenced by the years.
Anyone else?
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I did for day 3, I think. The map of a big city and its transport links. So I had Philadelphia as the city that I was going to work with.
It's my hometown.
Yeah, it's always challenging when it's the time you come from. Okay, so I had 2 data sources. One that had all the information on the stations, delays was very good, and I decided to go with that. So I had that data set, and then I had the data set with the geographic locations because they didn't come in the same data. I had to merge 2 sets together. So I did some API calling here, so the data was all online. Prepared the data with a few tools in Alteryx and exported that. And let me show you what okay. I'll come back to that in a second. This is my viz for the metro, the train line in Philadelphia. So I decided, as I said, to go with delays because that was an interesting thing for me. So this is the actual map of the city, and I tried to go with the metro map. But in fact, the metro maps are they're different from the actual geography, and they don't work because they've been shrink down to fit.
Yeah, like the London Tube map is. Yeah.
It's not really a good source to show things on. So here I've coded everything per line and put official colors of the line, and I'm showing what line experiences more delays. So that would be very high for R5. You can see only, if you click on it, you can see only R5 map on the map. And you can see down below what's the usual delay times for this line. So most delays were from 5 minutes up.
That's not good.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
But there are very good ones. Like, for example, the airport line had only a few delays of 1 minute. So if you're not going to miss a flight.
That's good.
Yeah. Just click out of here.
Just click on that.
There.
There you go.
Any questions about this?
No, That's good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a great question just to ask if I gave you, if that was a POC and I said, great, give me 3 more days of work, what would you add? Is there kind of a business question that you saw kind of from what you did? Or?
I think I would go and see when delays are happening. Like if I'm still focusing with the original delay thing, like I would see what times of day are delays. Like maybe if some of the lines are hit more heavily, let's say 9 o'clock rush hour. Yeah, I would go with the time that things are happening.
So try to find out more
Yeah.
about when the delays are occurring.
Exactly.
So really, this only quantifies how long the delays are, not when they're actually occurring. So they could be in the middle of the day, but
And
they
they
could
could
be
be-
during rush hour and it's impacting more people.
And it could be
Okay.
only in say 5 minutes that this happens.
Right.
But
It
if
might
it's
also
during
be
the whole day.
to have, if you have the ridership information, you can actually tally up the total
Yeah.
amount of delays, like how many man years are impacted by delays or something like that. So if you have 1 million people at 5 minutes, it's 5 million minutes. So
I'd be interested to find out how they actually quantify the delays. Can you imagine in the London Underground, how do they quantify a delay? It's like 2 trains every minute.
yeah.
How
Well, there
much-
aren't as many in Philadelphia,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
So they stick to a set
A
timetable.
lot of those are suburban lines, so it's
Oh,
everybody
okay.
going. There aren't that many inside the city. It's mostly buses in the city, so the lines are all coming from the suburbs into the city. So there is this, and because it's so big, it's so much more spread out than it is here. So there's a lot of geography between stations. So
But I imagine even the underground probably still keeps good records of the delays because they have to put on a posting that it's being delayed by a minute, then it's going to be recorded somewhere.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But they weren't allowed to use London or New York for this project because everybody uses London.
Did you do Southern Rail? So I sent my MP.
I lived in Arundel. Well, I still kind of live. My parents live in Arundel, but they're pretty.
So I didn't get.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to go that far.
All right. Well done. Good job.
Thank you.
Jamie?
No.
Yeah. Where's? Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry.
Change my name.
I didn't see your name out there. And if anybody has questions online, just feel free to leave a comment or unmute yourself.
So hello everyone, I'm Mina and I'm presenting the third version of the temperature data today. You're going to be really enthusiastic about the temperature data by the end of it. So I went with one straightforward concept that I wanted to go with, which was a timeline. And I just took the top countries with the number of years that they had recorded, so I just had the ones with the best records. And you can select one and it will go along all the years, because I was kind of going for this kind of infographic style. And the color is indicated how hot it is. So the more orange it is, the hotter it is. And the size of it is the range from the min to the max. So I've included this in the little small text, but obviously you guys can't read that from there. So you can see like they have quite a small and a cold temperature to start with during the periods, and then it becomes gradually more bigger and more variable and hotter temperatures. And it's very interesting to actually look at. So certain countries tell different stories to others. So like the US, much different story, that it's just consistently gotten a lot hotter just from this decade onwards. So yeah, I should also explain that every line is a decade and every dash is a year, just as it goes along. So then compare that to, let's say, I think Canada's kind of pretty similar, but it's got a little bit more, sort of kind of has these colder spots and a little bit more variance, and it goes up and down. So it has a pretty cold and narrow during certain years, but then it just kind of expands. I'm not really sure why. That has to do with industry, as Will was trying to tell the story with. So that would be kind of, I guess, my next step further if I was trying to take this from being an infographic-y style to an actual let's ask more questions. But I thought it was a nice way to present the whole timeline for a country, because you can see it broken down just visually by years and then decades and then down by color and the range of the values. And that's pretty much my biz for this one. So I'll let you guys, if you want to ask any questions or, yeah.
Is the colour set for the min and max for the country, or is it set for the whole data set?
No, it's for the country. Yeah, I've just let it vary for the country, because if you do it for the whole data set, then everything would be like either all blue or all orange. You don't see much. It's much more interesting to see, I guess, how it's changed for that country when you're telling the story.
Was it the thickness of the flow, the range?
Yeah, so that's the range. That's the difference between the min and max there. So it will just tell you just how big. So like when it has these kind of narrow periods and it gets bigger, you can tell that they've actually had much larger difference between their, let's say, their summers and winters or whatever it is exactly.
Can we see how you made this? I've never seen it.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, you can see how I've made it. I will post it online, but it's not like it's something you can straightforwardly make in Tableau. I've done a few tricks, but basically it's just to do with using the years. Each of these lines, as I said, is a decade.
Oh, you can screw
And then I've used the digit of, like the last digit, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but then obviously it would start again here, so then I've had to reverse it if it's an odd line of what is it, of the decade, so if it's either a 9 or a 0, so it's yeah, I just had to do some tricks to make it work.
So, but this isn't the theory in this isn't much different than creating the tube map line or the tube lines. She's playing a game of connect the dots on here.
Yeah.
She's just telling Tableau where to place each dot with calculations, basically.
Yeah.
And then once you have that, it's just a matter of just telling it, using like a path field or something like that.
Yeah, so I can show you inside. I've used calculations for both the axes, well, for both the rows and columns. As you can kind of see, and I've overlaid it because I use these shapes for the dashes. But then I tell it to do a path ID as well. So I have a path ID, which is just simply my years. But what actually decides where the columns are is different from what the years is, as I said, because I have to reverse it for every other one.
So is your path ID a calculation?
No, my path ID is actually just like the year.
Okay.
So it's going to draw it by year, but the problem is I don't want it to go like this, which is what they're doing before. It's just going this harsh across. I want it to wrap around. So I have to reverse the years across like that. But
I like the angled lines. Is that just a shape depending on whether it's the first and last?
I just took a line and I just rotated it and put it
Yes,
as a
you see,
shape.
she created a shape palette.
Yeah.
So inside of her shapes folder, she created a new palette for those.
So you can see, actually it says it right here, just my shapes I just have there, and I made a calc so that I could tell which one it was supposed to be for the edges. And then it just ends up looking very simple in the end, but that's what I made for this.
It's really cool.
And
It's really
yeah,
nice. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to move on to was my wine visualization. I chose this because I had a lot of fun and I personally learned a lot out of it. Other people might prefer some of the other business I did during the week, but I have a personal attachment to it. So, and I don't have to show you much of an Alteryx workflow today because this was all I did in Alteryx. I got a data set off Kaggle. It was perfectly clean. And it basically just showed me, actually I can show you just the data set here if I can grab my, oh, yeah, I'll just show here. So this data set on wine, I basically just had a row for every wine, and then I had a bunch of metrics. So it would be like the acidity, the alcohol, the density, the pH, but the most important part of it is that there's a quality score given by an expert. That's supposed to range from 0 to 10. But in this data set, it's only from 3 to 8. Maybe they're just a bit conservative with their marks. I don't really know. In this data set, it's only for red wine. But basically, I had all of these, and I wanted to say what decides whether something is of good quality or not good quality in terms of the wine. So I decided to do in Alteryx just one quick little tool, which is this correlation matrix. And I get an output that, if I can grab it, oh no, I don't need that one actually, it's here. So if anybody's ever used a correlation matrix, it should look pretty familiar. For anybody who doesn't, it's basically just the color indicates to you how much something relates to another thing. So if the quality of the wine relates to how much alcohol in it, it's going to have a darker color, which is the case. So
I wish it wouldn't highlight the ones in the middle.
Yeah.
Really
so the ones in the middle are them to themselves, so obviously they look really bright. But you just ignore those, and you can see which way either positive or negative impact them. So when I was going through this, I had to go across my quality and see what, if I can drag it down a bit. So if I go into quality, it kind of like doesn't show very well on here, but you can see quality to chlorides, so on. It's not very great, but you can get to like alcohol somewhere.
It's the one next to the right of
Yeah, it's got to be the darkest one.
Yeah.
So alcohol is like the strongest one of all the factors there.
Is price on there? Like
So the thing.
You can ask about
this
wine
data.
professionals and the price.
Yeah. The data set here, they were not allowed to give you product name, company name, pricing, any of that. That was the one stipulation. It's very rich data, but they could not give you that detail.
So each wine is just given a number. Just
yeah, so you cannot identify which wine it is.
But it's really interesting because, like, when you go to a winery, you don't care what you buy. They want you to buy a wine you like. They don't care what it costs, But you go to a wine shop, they want you to buy something that, and we actually, So Mina, when she was at ISS before, a customer of ours, before she came into day school, and she worked with Simona, who was in the second cohort of the day school, and she's a sommelier. So she was able to ask Simona questions about the data as well. So.
It's like, what's this variable mean? I don't know. Like, why does this impact wine quality? So yeah, I'll show you how that kind of impacted my biz. So I got a bit of information from her, researched a little bit, and added that as context into my data set. So the last little bit, I'll just explain on this correlation. So I found those ones with the high values, either positive or negative. But then I also have to exclude things which are going to be similar. So there's multiple acidities, and they're correlated with themselves. So I only need to take the one that's most important. So basically, I'm just using Ultrix in this case for analytics. I just want to figure out what am I supposed to viz about? What factors are most important for the quality? So when I go into my visualization, and this was my wine visualization. So yeah, what separates a good red wine from other red wines? I've got just two colors to separate it. So on this side is the good wines. That side is the it's not bad wines, but they're just not
as good.
Not as good. And each of these, I should say, this is alcohol, acidity, sulfate. So these are binned. So it's just saying this is like 8%, all the 8% alcohols, because they can go more granular than that. So I just want to group them up into bigger groups. So this is the number of wine bottles that are in each of them. So I want to see, of all the good wines, most of them tend to be in like 11 or 12%. Whereas all of the not so good wines tend to be about 9% alcohol, okay? And you can just kind of see there's a little bit of variance, but most of them tend to be that way.
Less acidic.
But the thing is if you just use a figure like average, you don't get as much richness as if you do use the histogram. Right. So that's why I've included both, and the acidity as well. So you tend to actually want lower acidity for the wines because it negatively impacts the aroma and the taste having this acidity. So hence the poorer quality tend to have a little bit more acidity. And then the sulfate as well.
So it looks pretty similar to sulfate, yeah.
So sulfate is to preserve the complexity of the taste. And I don't know if you follow any of the media, but they always give a really bad portrayal of sulfates and how it can cause you problems, yeah. But actually, in terms of the quality of the wine, it really does make it taste better.
Well, it probably makes it taste better longer. That's probably what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's probably what it does, right? It's a preservative.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's preservative, it's not natural. It's the only thing that they really add to wine, so that's why it gets a very negative stigma about it, but it actually impacts it very well. So on this side here, as I said, I've included a little bit of context about each of these measures and why they would impact them in the way that they do. So I'll call about the taste, body, and consistency. Wine, as I said, the acidity is about the taste and aroma, and then the sulfates is about the complexity. And then on my information button, I do explain my methods that I've used. I'm sorry you guys can't really read it, but I've mostly explained that I chose these top three based off of the correlation matrix, and that the quality was an assessment given by somebody who was a professional in tasting wine, and that this is only red wine data. So. And that was the viz that I did here. Any questions?
You want to use this for next time you go bottle a 5-bottle wine?
Yeah.
Any feedback?
Do you have a particular type of wine that you like? Because I wonder if we could look it up and see where it falls in this scale.
I've recently fallen in love with fizzy red. Do you have that? Oh, fizzy red. That's very mine.
Fizzy red.
Is that
a Frenchman here. Is it really called fizzy red?
Some sparkling red wine.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The horror.
Okay, so I
doesn't have a screw on top.
Oh.
I will say that I think the thing that you've actually nailed is that your dashes tell a story coming down. You can you know exactly how to read straight through it.
Yeah.
I think that is really, really important. Sure.
Thank you. Great. Is there more questions on that?
All right,
Jamie? Is it Jamie this time? Yeah, now it's Jamie. Yeah, I can't really see the orange font on the glare. It's pretty wicked.
Oh, put it full mode. I'm Jamie. I'm going to follow the order everyone else has done today, so I'm going to go first.
Oh, you got to start.
So I'm going to go first with the temperature change diagram, the graphs that we made today. So The reason why it's so basic at the moment, it took me all day to get to this point, to get this curvature line. And what this curvature line shows is, you can't see the front of the bottom. It's not very clear, but from left to right, this is the temperature by country. So the high temperature countries will have it the longest here. And by height, it's also temperature. I would like the height to be changing temperature, but time constraints meant just for me to get a dashboard out at the moment, I've done that. And then going from left to right here, you can see this is the minimum temperature, and this is the current temperature. So if it's red, that shows its minimum temperature is smaller than what its current temperature is now. And then if you go on a tooltip, you can see here, so this is Iceland. You can see its minimum temperature in the data set, which might have been like 50 years ago, was 13 degrees, but now it's 47 degrees. So it's had a change of 3,377%. And then at the top...
How's that possible? How's it 3,300?
I've got the calculation 300% is what it's meant to be.
Oh, okay.
It's not set off. But here, you can see Antarctica's temperature change is huge, so...
So it hasn't changed. Yeah, okay, I got you.
So here's minimums 12%.
But on the left to right scale, it doesn't go
22.
far to the right because
No, it
the
does go
temperature still isn't that high
Isn't that
relative
high
to everybody else.
It's high. Its
Okay.
maximum temperature is only 25. But it's gone from 12 to 25, which is obviously a huge gap. You see it's like half of
Yeah,
it.
it's double.
But yeah, but as I said, the main thing is it lacks a bit
You were
of depth.
trying to learn how to build the
I
arc
was learning how
diagram.
to build the arc diagram, and then in the next few hours I'll add some more depth to it. I'll actually have correct calculations in my tooltips, and I'll actually
I'm curious why you chose to color each line twice instead of, is each line colored twice? Is that what that means?
What does it mean? Well, I'll go.
So it looks like all of them split colors. So
Yeah.
is there a reason you didn't choose to just use one color for the line that's just the
Why
temperature change?
split?
Yeah.
So this is the minimum. This is when it first enters the data set, and then this is when it exits.
Right, but what I'm saying is, would it visually look more impactful if the diagrams were showing the change in temperature rather than the overall change from their first measure to their last measure? If that makes sense. So.
So yeah. So as I said, I was just getting.
And then they're all on the same scale.
They're on the same
similar
scale.
to what we thought Elena's was doing with her lines, where she had all the lines. The purple to orange was actually the decades, not the temperature.
Yeah,
Same kind of idea. If it was colored by just the temperature change, might it look more impactful?
Yeah, probably was. I said, like, my main task was filtering out the millions of rows of data. Then I had to get the 2 years. Then I had to take it into Alteryx, repeat whatever data set I had 180 times to create a pathway curve like this.
Okay.
This is 180 different points.
Right.
It's all repeated 180 times. So it's me doing that whole complete process and getting on here, and then I will change the data on it. It's just me actually learning the process of creating this viz.
But to color the line, though, if you wanted to do a single color, you could just write an LOD. That's just the temperature change. Yeah. Or you could do it in Alteryx.
I said it's one of those ones that needs probably a couple more hours just to actually refine it. It's more of me just showing what you can actually do.
It looks really cool.
More what you can actually do with it.
It's really nice.
Right, so next I'm going to go through yesterday's task. So Andy basically gave us this website yesterday, typed in a food type, so I had mac and cheese, and said,
You need to analyze that.
and then here, this is a link to every single type of mac and cheese in this USDA database. And inside each of these links here, are tables, which I'll show you here, which has nutritional information plus ingredients.
I didn't like this particular project very much.
So the task was to get 4 pages worth of these links, the information from these tables here. So I'm going to show you a huge Alteryx workflow in a minute, but the first task was to get the links for each individual mac and cheese here. So this is mac and cheese dinner, Dan's, Mac Attack, mac and cheese pizza, there's like mac and Cheetos. For some reason it doesn't have Kraft mac and cheese, which is the most popular one in the world, so it's not the best database.
I wonder if it's under Mac N. We get rid of the AND and make it an N.
Well, I looked for Kraft because it has the manufacturer, and then at times I just couldn't find it anywhere.
No, but I'm saying if you just put Mac N, the letter N, and not AND, Mac N cheese, because theirs is called Mac N cheese.
But so what I use is this link clipper first. So what you do is you right click on the link you want here, then you can say extract all, and it'll find all the links of this on the page. Then I all put it into one CSV file.
So Jamie, did you have to do that 4 times, once for each page?
Yeah, I've done it 1 for each page because I only have 4 pages. I use this tool, but there's an import IO that I think we'll use where it can actually go through all 10 pages. But as I only had 4, I didn't have to use this tool. I quickly used it. And then after finding all the links, my main task on Alteryx was being able to get this in a usable form in Tableau. So you can see here, there's a table here, and there's just some big bit of text here that's just ingredients. So I'll move on to the Alteryx workflow. So here, this is how to clean one of these web pages so it's usable in Tableau. So basically, I was turn it from the web page into this table here, which has all the different foods, which is all those different individual links, the manufacturer, then the units, all our different, the nutrients, all our different units that they use and the value for that unit, and then finally what type of nutrient it is, whether it's energy, protein, whatever. And to do this, it was quite complex on all six, as you can see. So this is the start of a batch macro, so you know what a batch macro is. It means I could put in all, I think it was 110 different URLs into this batch macro, and then one by one would do this, cleans all of them, and then put them into that CSV files I just showed you. And then at the start here, this top section was me getting the table, which had all the nutrients and ingredients on it. So the first part here, this first pass, was to actually get the physical table in XML form, so in the page source form. So I had to find which the XML headers were, which was T-body. So if you've ever scraped a website, when you scrape a website, you can inspect an element. So here, I know I wanted the table, so I've inspected it. And here you can see groupings it's under, and here if I highlight T-body, you can see all the information I want is in T-body here. So this is what I'm telling Alteryx first to do, is take all the information in the HTML that's within T-body, and then from that I worked out where all the individual rows were in that table. And then when I found out where they were, which was, they were labelled by TR, I replaced TR with a pipe, which is, you can't really see here, it's just basically a straight line. And the reason why I use that to replace is you never see that in HTML, people never ever use that key. Because, and as no one ever uses that key, that means by me highlighting each TR with this pipe, I could use a text to columns to turn all the XML into individual rows. Like here's not showing anything, but this is each individual row that we just see in that table, which I've done, which I've been able to identify by replacing that TR with a pipe. And then from here, this is just me getting every bit of information for each row. So the first one is me getting nutrients, as you can see here, approximates, minerals, vitamins, lipids. The second part, what it is under each of these categories, so whether it's energy, protein, iron, and so forth. Next is the measure unit. As you see, there's a variety of measurements like calories, grams, milligrams, and so on. And then finally, this is per 100 grams and then per cup. But these are both just showing the same measurement, but different things for so American or more. But other countries actually use real measurements, grams. And then, so from here, I've basically got a table here that's usable in Tableau of that table there. But also, I need more information now because I'm going to scrape 52 websites. I need to actually know what food type it is, what groupings it has. So this is what these next 4 passes were. These are a bit more basic, but from these, here I managed to pass all the ingredients. So here's a list of all the ingredients. This was more simple because all the ingredients were just separated by commas, so I was able to do that with just 3 passes here. The next one actually gives you what the food type here was, so this was wacky mac and cheese.
Some of the names are fantastic.
Here's the grouping, so it's branded food, and then finally, who was the manufacturer. And as you can see, after I got all this information, I had to do an inception amount of appends. So here's a first append of 1, 2, 3, 4 appends just to get it all together. Then finally, I've done a clean with a select, and then here, as you can see, I've got this is for one web page. I've got a usable table, and then these 2 outputs here. I then created a batch macro. These 2 outputs, which enabled me to put all 150 URLs in, and then it would make all 52 on top of each other in a CSV file, which is here as I explained earlier, which I was able to then use in Tableau. And with all that information, I made this amazingly basic dashboard. Because the problem was with mac and cheese is no one cares about most of that nutritional information. You don't need mac and cheese to be healthy. So my whole idea was
This is way better than the day software.
Yeah.
Really
So I've called it mac and cheat day because obviously people like to eat mac and cheese on their cheat day. And my idea was if you choose the manufacturer, you could choose the mac and cheese and how much you eat. How many minutes of a certain type of exercise do you have to do to burn off that mac and cheese that you've had that day? So here, if you have mac and Cheetos, 500 grams, you'll have to do 38 minutes of jogging, 126 minutes of weightlifting, or 90 minutes of yoga just to be able to burn off the calories of that meal. So all that massive, long, complex workflow is provide this nice little dashboard. Any questions?
I think it's brilliant.
It's terrifying at the same time. What was the other one? Like, the mac and Cheetos was terrible.
Wacky.
You know
one that was
what
like-
Cheetos are, right?
What was
Like the little puff things,
Yeah.
the ones that's macaroni cheese flavored or something.
Is the Kraft one that Uber one you was
Oh, yeah, the Costco one.
Oh yeah, the BJ, no BJ's.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was
BJ?
BJ's.
It was
Wholesale.
horrible.
So this is like the giant vat of, you know, like it's like Costco's or BJ's is like Costco. So you can only buy it in bulk. Yeah, so it's.
Yeah,
I think
so
you put
just
a
chuck it
kilo
right
in there.
so
Yeah,
about a kilo is,
Yeah.
over 3 hours of yoga just to burn off a kilo.
And that's yeah. So if you eat a kilo of mac and cheese, BJ's mac and cheese, you have to do 193 minutes of yoga.
And have a heart attack halfway through.
Yeah. What's that?
And have a heart attack halfway
Yeah,
through.
sure.
Get a kilo of that, you're just gonna be vomiting for the rest of the day.
Really good. Any other questions? No? Disgusted? Yeah.
A nice simple task that Andy gave us yesterday.
Yeah.
It took us to about 5 PM to get out of all twigs and then we'll
Yeah.
actually start making the bits.
So every one of them today said they enjoyed it. So some of them are just-
Well, enjoy the whole week, not yesterday.
Oh, wait, Elena, you didn't give us a joke today.
Again.
Oh,
No,
You
I
have to
don't
put it
have
on
to.
You have to get one before we're done.
We're done.
So Elena's job this week is to have a joke of the day, but she's only done it twice. So, AJ, is that right? Yeah. So hard to see the.
Yeah, it's me, Marcus, Andy.
So when we do client projects, we follow Scrum. So we stand over there on the carpet and do our daily Scrum, and whoever the project lead is has to tell a joke. And they're supposed to be like dad jokes, like really bad, corny jokes. So it's Elena's job this week.
Can you give an
Tell one
example?
good one.
You should give an example of that joke.
What were some of them? We had some good ones.
I like Jamie's.
None of the ones that I like.
Yeah, Jimmy's the best one.
Yeah. Jamie, you remember any of yours?
Doesn't want to say.
Get a maroon one as well. Alright, thank you guys for coming down today. I just want to show you 2 of my visits. Let's see if I can find them. The first one, following everyone's pattern. I'm going to show you my climate change, or whether it's true or not. Trump. But yeah, essentially what I've done is I've kind of not listened to Andy because he told me not to use a map, but then I really wanted to use the pages
I told you
feature.
not to use map. I told you not to use a filled map.
Good map. But I've kind of gone with it. Anyways, but basically what I've done is I've kind of used the temperature between 1960s to 1990s as my base, and then compared the temperatures of other decades around it. So basically what you get is, so if the temperature has gone up higher than the average in those decades, then it will be red. If it's lower, then it will be blue. So you can compare it to that. So if I play it, hopefully it does it quite quickly.
In
Yeah.
1961 to 1990 is a common metric used as a baseline. I don't know why that
Well,
time period is, but it is.
So yeah, so as you go towards 2010, you can just tell right now that's 2010 decade, and it's all red. I don't know if you can see it quite clearly from the back.
Faster on the faster. Oh, you're doing it through decades, not by
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, I was gonna do it through a year, but it's taking so long. I cut it down to decade. But yes, essentially, yeah, you can just go, it just goes from kind of being bluish to really red, and then you can just tell the temperature has been rising in comparison to the baseline. And you can also, if you click on any of so if you go to Russia and click it, in the decade it tells you how the temperature had,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's-
just let
Yeah,
it do its thing. Let it catch up.
Flagged here. It's okay on the screen.
Your team died.
Oh yeah, your turn is. Click on Julie's.
Sorry, is there a TV off and back on? Reboot.
should I do HDMI? Oh, yeah.
So you've got a timeline down the bottom.
Yeah, essentially, I have a timeline. So
We can see it on the screen.
yeah, just more granular.
So
It's going very well. Yeah.
my dashboard. Give me that.
Just given up on dashboard week.
While we're doing this, can I just ask how you found on such a short time period the iteration between Alteryx and Tableau? Are you finding you're just trying to get something in as early as you can and then more data to complement it? Or are you trying to get your complete data set in and then doing the two-stage process? How have you guys?
Ideally, it's a two-stage process, so get it all done in Alteryx and then get it to Tableau. However, sometimes it's not that way. It's Tableau, you think, oh well, okay, maybe I need more data, or this data's not quite right, so you're flipping back and forth between the two.
Yeah. Well, kind of what I observed this week is a lot of them, mistakenly, I would say, come up with an idea in their head before, and they try to work backwards from that, and you're trying to make Alteryx fit. So it ends up taking a lot longer than just trying to get the data prepped. So it ends up, you kind of end up wasting time a bit that way. But that's part of the learning experience. Is, what are the most effective ways to go through that? And inevitably, I think, Lee, you were a good example of this week. Your light bulb went off at about 6 o'clock every night on how you could have made it easier, right?
Well, that's it. But it's learning from having done it the hard way, I guess.
Yeah.
So, when it gets to that stage, someone said, "Oh, I did it this way."
But that's a good thing about Alteryx. You can do the same thing 50 different ways and get the same answer.
Yeah.
Like that tool that Jamie just showed for getting all the web links. I'd never seen that before.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
We went through such a long process to do that.
Yeah. Okay, it's up now.
It's up, yeah, it's working now. Oh, still like.
No, it's okay now. It's on H.
I started one. If you click on any of the map and then select a decade, you can go into more granular data. So if you just want to look at,
there we go. It's because you clicked on Russia. That's why.
I'm trying to click out of it, but it's not me.
There you go.
You can just go a bit more granular into data. So if you want to look at actual year and see what's been happening, you can actually do that. So that's my dashboard for today. For the one we did, the one I want to show you, my second one is basically my basketball dashboard. We did this on Monday, I believe. So luckily, this is the only data that was relatively clean I got this week, except minus today's. But then this is, as you can see, it's all cleaned up data. So basically what it's showing now is all of the different points, all the different baskets that basketball players in NBA have scored. I believe the data ranges from 2017, I think it goes down to, oh no, this one is just 2016. I think there's a couple of years range of data, a couple of seasons. So I was basically trying to find the best shooter in NBA for the last couple of years. So to do that,
so they were each given us during the basketball data one. They were each given a specific question to answer. So yours was best shooter of all time. Was it? Yeah. So I think Marcus had Michael Jordan versus Kobe Bryant because everybody kind of had a different task they had to answer.
So it was in Alteryx. Not even, to be honest, it's not even really worth showing because this was like the quickest. That's why I think I had more time like this. Because literally just sorting it out, giving each of the different baskets a record so I can show that in Viz later on, and just cleaning up. It was very, very basic, but essentially this is what the clean data looked like. I just had all the stuff that I actually just need to do my Viz. Each of them have a record ID, so each of the basket actually has, I can define it now.
So that identifies each individual shot.
Each individual shot. That's right, exactly.
Every row is a shot.
Every row is a shot now.
Okay.
So. So here's the Viz. This is the Stephen Curry one. So obviously one of the Stephen Curry, sorry. There you go. That's my basketball knowledge right there.
Yeah. How many times did you say Stephen Curry this week?
My face is
He chooses to
You can't really see, So basically, the heat map shows you exactly the position. So one of the best things of the data set I got was that you had X and Y coordinates. So I could use that to kind of overlay an image of a half court and kind of give it a position within that, so I can exactly see where he shot each of his baskets from.
And these are all made shots, right?
These are all made shots.
You filter your data to just made shots.
Just made shots, yeah. These are all made shots only. So so you can literally, so if you hover in any of them, it tells you exactly how far he was, what type of shot he did, and against which
It's a very
opponent.
specific type of shot.
Fadeaway jump shot.
Fadeaway jump shot. Yeah, you can tell. So yeah, so if fadeaway jump shot, but if you go closer, it's more of a floating jump shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just changes.
They're basically the same thing.
You should show
I
all.
would don't
You
know.
should show all too. You should show all.
Show
all.
Show all players.
don't
Yeah.
show.
That's
It
really
looks
cool.
cool. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's the coolest.
Yeah, you can just tell like yeah. Oh.
You see,
Yeah, some of them is outside, but yeah, that's all gonna mess
So
up. But
some shots were made past half court.
some structure, yes, every now and then. I filtered some of them out as well. I think. But yeah, so that's actually the one.
Cool. So 49,466 two-point field goals and 534 three-point field goals made.
Yeah, that's actually quite. Yeah,
I think that seems low.
yeah,
I
that's
think
actually
it's
good.
quite low, very low.
There's some sort of
I think Steph Curry made more than that himself.
Yeah, I would have thought that's way lower than it should be.
What's that?
Yeah,
Maybe it's an average.
Cowfishes.
Yeah,
man, you can put on the line.
Yeah, that's lower than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, and some of the things are actually recorded wrong. So like some players, you'll see it's actually a 3-point shot where the XY coordinates are, but it's marked as a 2-point shot. So they got one or the other wrong, but you can only go with the.
I was just wondering about the gap where the line is that just.
That's basically because nobody takes a shot from just inside the 3-point
It's
line,
either 3 or 2.
Yeah.
which they're taught to do.
Yeah, it's
So you see, for like, if you go back to Steph, I think it's Steph Curry. If you go back to him,
Steven?
That may be case.
The Steph Curry
That's
is up.
Steph Curry. You'll see he has almost an arc that goes from several feet inside the. So if you look at if he had all of his shots on here, you'd see almost a band in there because there's actually a lot of studies now in the NBA that basically say it's not worth taking a shot that's within like 3 feet of the 3-point line because your chance of making it is the same as making a 3-pointer. So why not get the extra point?
Right.
So if you look at kind of NBA stats over time, the number of 3-pointers attempted is kind of skyrocketing because of that. Because they're now using data to tell the players where to shoot from. So, what was the other one? Who had the one with Kevin Durant? Yes, so show Kevin Durant on there because he had that big. Who had Kevin Durant?
No, it was,
we saw the
no, it was Peter, right?
the heat map.
It was Peter.
Oh, was it Peter? Yeah, that's right.
Peter, yeah.
It wasn't even in here. Yeah. But Kevin Durant's was really interesting because Peter, who was in DS4, he did he broke it into zones, and he showed like percentage made or something like that by zone, and basically there's one part of the court where Kevin Durant never makes a shot, basically, and he still takes a lot of shots from there, which is really interesting. So it's like send that to him. It's really interesting.
Coaching advice.
Yeah, so the data is really rich.
Yeah, it's very good data. Yeah, that was one of it. Any questions?
Where did you get that from?
I think honestly.
No, because we don't collect it in tier 13 on this.
It's on
Which
NBA.
stuff?
Yeah, it was NBA.
And stats.nba.com.
Was it APA or is it just?
Well, I actually
No,
it
it's
said on the Makeover Monday
That's why
website.
that's why it was.
One on
downloaded
Steph Curry
CSV
last-
that looks
just
like
on Steph
that?
Curry last
Like,
year.
this is why I'm so happy. Like this is like one day ago, like literally my bed. I was ill. Luckily, I got this.
Owned as well, and I used to work
Oh, okay.
All you have to do is
Okay.
overlay
so I know that we don't collect it.
I know.
It's,
Yeah.
you collect literally XY coordinates in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like no, I was looking at it. And I
It
was
must take them forever to
Download
download
it.
all of this.
It's really quick.
They should actually put
If you
chips.
get
Essentially,
into, well, when you
Well,
try
they
and
should
find-
put chips inside of all the players' shoes. Is what they should do. That's what they do in rugby, right? They wear the chips on their backs. That's what they should do for sports.
But still, you get this stuff live, like my Skype or football website, I get within 20 seconds for shots.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's amazing how quickly
that
they
was
can
it.
record
Yeah,
it.
and it's literally within 5 seconds of that.
Yeah.
It's like 3 guys.
That's cool. All right. Good job.
But yeah.
Good job.
Say Marcus. I cannot. Is that like really bad glare?
I can read it from here. Eyes are
I
going.
think we need to just throw away all orange markers, but we need orange and blue for Tableau.
I can read it first.
Yeah, I get a really bad angle off the building. I need to get it like on the stripe of the building between the windows.
Am I doing HMI?
No, just present through,
Reading those buttons.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marcus. I'm going to start with sort of the first day of Dashboard Week that we started with. which was the basketball data. My challenge for Monday was to go online and my challenge was to compare sort of career highlights between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And in order to do so, I sort of had to start off with finding a source online that sort of had their career highlights. To start us off with, we did start off with the NBA website, which had quite a good amount of data on there, but I thought I'd go somewhere else and I chose to choose Wikipedia for this one. So in Wikipedia,
well, I think we weren't able to get it in this as nice of a format as you could in Wikipedia, right?
Yeah,
when we were,
it's a bit trickier to pull off from the NBA website than it was for Wikipedia. And yeah, so basically what I done was go onto Wikipedia and search up both players online and sort of see what sort of stats I can get for them for their whole career. And as you can see on here, we sort of have two tables for Michael Jordan, one for regular season, one for playoffs, and it was exactly the same for Kobe as well. So in order to sort of pull off the data from Wikipedia, I used the Google Sheets. In Google Sheets, you can import HTML from the website just by simply putting in this formula here. And what that does is it goes into the website that you put in, and you assign sort of a table number, or you find a table that this is.
So it's table number 5 in the web page.
Yeah, so table number 5 in the web page and table number 6 in the web page. And you basically tell the Google Sheets to go to that table and pull off all of that data into the sheets, like we have here. And basically we've got the regular season and the playoffs for both Kobe and Michael Jordan that way. Once I sort of took it off there, I downloaded it onto my Google Drive so that I could pull it into Alteryx and begin to do some visualization. So it was quite straightforward. My workflow isn't too complicated for this one, since the data came in quite a good format from the beginning. So what I done was download each player's stats for their playoff season and the regular season, bring it into Alteryx, and basically just tidy it up in order for it to be used in Tableau. So yeah, it was simply just pulling in each file, doing a formula to tidy it up and to make it sort of consistent across all documents. So when I bring it in with the union, it will be very straightforward. There won't be too much faffing around once I bring it into a union. So yeah, I just took out anything that I did not need, replaced any characters that were outstanding, that stood out, made sure all my casing was the exact same as possible.
Wikipedia puts like those footnotes and things like that on there, right?
Yeah,
like
Wikipedia puts footnotes. Me and Mina realized that they sort of had, instead of a normal dash symbol, they had like a Wikipedia version which was super extended. And when we were trying to pull it out using that dash symbol, we was wondering why the hell is it not coming out? So we sort of had to go in, copy and paste it into Alteryx.
Yeah, I've had to do that before from Wikipedia, yeah.
Yeah, we had to copy and paste into a formula, and then that sort of allowed us to pull out all of the
What's
data.
What's frustrating is it looks exactly the same in the formula.
Yeah. I mean, you notice it looks a tiny bit longer once you pull it in.
It's called N-dash, scientific notation.
In dash.
N-dash.
N-dash.
So a slightly different dash is for references, scientific references.
Yeah, I'll make sure I send Wikipedia an email to get rid of that. So yeah, once I sort of tidied it up, I exported to a TDE, and so we've got our NBA data, dashboards, yeah, and right.
You have it open already, didn't you?
No, I've got my previous one. Yeah, for today. Right, so from sort of the data that I got from Tableau, I sort of went on to build a sort of comparison, a career highlight comparison between the two players. I sort of used this as an experiment in a way of, I've been using bar charts and charts of various types all through sort of my process in data school, so I thought, why not try and do something different? So still give the user the information that they want to see, but then reduce the amount of charts that they have to go through in order to see it. So what I've done here is opted to sort of, across the top, you can see we've given the overall career highlights for each player. So throughout their whole career, how many games they've started, how many games they've played. And the line graph here sort of represents how many minutes they played in each season. So for interactivity, I've allowed the user to sort of come in. They can choose what sort of game type they want to play, they want to see. So you've got the playoffs and the regular season. So you can come in here and sort of have a look between the two, and it updates all of the data below here. You can also sort of choose a season for each player. So across the left-hand side, we have all of Kobe's stats, so the basketball court, and on the right-hand side, all of Michael Jordan's stats. So we can sort of go in and select on a season and see how it changes. So how many points per game, for example, Kobe scored in that season compared to how many.
Who's better?
Pardon?
Who's better?
Michael Jordan, big time. So the stats, I was meant to have sort of a full-on overview of how it all adds up. And
So he scores more, he blocks more, he's got a better free throw percentage.
yeah, so in his whole career.
Same steals.
So Michael Jordan started his career much later than Kobe did, yet he's still got higher points per game, higher overall scores. So how many games he started, how many games he played, and he's also been on court a lot more than. Or he's also spent more time on court than Kobe has.
Did Kobe's stats change when Shaq left?
Pardon?
So Kobe what?
When Shaquille O'Neal left, Lakers go to where did he go? The Heat. When he was the Heat, did the Kobe's stats change? Can you see?
Not too sure, because I've only got it for Chicago Bulls on here.
Sorry, for
Kobe.
Oh, for Kobe.
What year did Shaq leave?
Shaq would have left in 2001.
I don't think I think Kobe, apparently everybody said he got better because he was,
Yeah,
but
but
the
it may not
stats
come
don't,
through.
the stats don't necessarily show it.
Yeah,
You don't have it until
2002 he left? So if you lasso over, so on
2004.
Kobe,
2004.
so lasso from 2005 all the way over to the right. You should be able to lasso them all, right?
I'll just give you that.
That's okay, that's good enough.
Yeah, it's all averages for.
Well, that's okay, but you're averaging across those seasons, right?
But you've probably done what the last couples, that's before retirement, so that's not real.
Yeah, it's not a fair comparison, is it?
Yeah, and I mean, again, there's a big age difference between the two players as well.
And on Jordan, how did you handle for when he retired and came back about 3 years later? The Washington Wizards.
Yeah, this is all just Chicago Bulls.
Oh, just Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for Kobe, it's all just Lakers, and for Shaq, it's all just Chicago Bulls. That's was
That's
on.
actually probably a better comparison for the two of them anyway, I think, right?
Yeah, that was just what.
So yeah, highlights is always so the baseball stats going in. But the baseball stats in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on like the simple overview, the user can see sort of how each player's done. I've also opted to have this basketball in the middle, which gives you sort of the awards they've won over their whole careers. And again, you can see MJ's won way more than Kobe has in his career. And so yeah, that's sort of what I came out with on day one of Dashboard Week. Any questions or?
Yeah, it's cool. Slightly boring technical question. The two line charts,
Yeah.
are those actually set to be the same as each other?
No.
Okay. If you were going to set them to be the same on different charts, how would you go about making sure the two charts have the same axes?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to sort of filter out the data between the time that they both played at the same time. So there is a bit of crossover in some of the
The height axis, yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
can fix it. You just fix it.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Well, you can fix it or you can create a calculation. That's just, I would just create a calculation that finds the maximum across the two players and then set that as a reference line.
That's too much work considering he's making a set everything, I'll just fix it.
Yeah.
He wasn't here.
Fix
Either way out.
It depends if you want it to be dynamic or not.
Yeah, in this case.
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
But the x-axis, is it the same?
The x-axis is just the minutes they've played. Oh, sorry, the x-axis is the seasons.
The
Yeah.
minutes per season.
Yeah. So
But are they
Left
the
to
same
right
season? I
is
don't understand about
left to right is year basically.
Okay, but are they the same years?
No.
I don't know, I don't understand what
Yeah,
so
so
they play the same time.
that's one of the things we talked about because they didn't play at the same. They only overlapped 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're thinking of is if they were going to put them on the same chart, you would probably say years since their career started. So it'd go from 0 to 15, 20, how many years they played. But he chose to break it out as separate charts, and they're just by year, basically.
What happened in the for Michael Jordan when they go down?
it was 800. Yeah. So he started out in 84, 85, and then
Did Kobe go straight from high school? So
Yeah,
that's why his jokes like that, because he can't.
Kobe started when he was like 19, 16,
17.
17.
Yeah, didn't go to the
Because Jordan went to college.
Jordan went to UNC. My old.
So yeah, that's the one that we done on Monday, and yeah, so we done another one today, which was based on sort of temperatures across the world. So
Several beach.
I didn't use a picture, unfortunately. Yeah. So the challenge for today was to sort of visualize the temperature data in a way that we thought would be best in our views. I opted on this occasion to go for the Caribbean islands. Being from the Caribbean myself, I've always wanted to do some sort of data viz like this.
There's very little data about the Caribbean, right?
Pardon?
There's very little data about the Caribbean.
Oh, not as little as you may think. Yeah. There's a good amount in there. There's a good amount in there. So yeah, so bringing that in, I chose to go for sort of a more fun sort of style of visualization. I went for the title, Feeling Hot, Hot, Hot.
What font is that?
It's a Caribbean font, I downloaded it from internet.
Dedication.
I've fully done everything.
Well, it looks like those wooden signs that you see. You know,
Yeah,
things like
it reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean in a way.
Yeah.
The way it is. So, yeah, so I thought I'd get that off the internet. And just to go with the whole theme of it, because I'm looking at the Caribbean islands, I thought, right, let's go with the full whack and just make sure everything on here looks Caribbean. Sort of like the background as well, I took it, I used like a dripping tool on the beach and sort of put the sand colour in the background. So I was really trying to go in with this one, but yeah, so this is what I sort of came up with. So I wanted to look at the average temperatures of the Caribbean islands over the decades, and I wanted to give the user the option to sort of select a island that they come from or an island that they want to know about. And I've ranked, what I've done is the icons aren't ranked in any way, they're just from A to Z for the Caribbean islands. And down here we sort of have a ranking table. So the question is, how did your country rank on a hot list? So between the 14 Caribbean islands that were in this data set, I've just sort of ranked it based on how hot they were in the beginning of the data set and towards the end of the data set. So the user can come in here, select an island and sort of see how it's ranked.
What does go out?
What happened in
What's
Colombia?
Yeah, I was like, I
What happened in Colombia?
Yeah, I'll show you both. So we've got Guyana. I don't know the flag of Baja yet, so.
Caribbean.
So at the start,
Same with Mexico.
yeah, I'm Jamaican, man.
See, I don't know the flag, and that's what my granddad's from.
Yeah.
So how come there's no #1 in the last year?
So what's happened is Trinidad and Tobago has come into the interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Trinidad and Tobago didn't have any data pre-20.
I gotcha. Okay.
Was that 20 cents? Yeah, in the
Right.
before
And they're
2010s.
#1 in the last. Okay.
Yeah. So it gives the user sort of an insight of how temperatures have changed over time and where their countries rank within this.
So I'm curious in the bottom, Marcus. So your top view goes from the 1970s to the 2010s, and then your line chart down below.
Yeah,
Looks
so
like you have to slide through the years. Is there a reason you didn't just show the 1970s through the 2010s in total at the bottom?
the line chart below, what I was thinking of doing was sort of having, so the measure in there is sort of the average temperatures based over the decades.
Right.
So these line graphs down here is meant to represent each country,
Yep.
which I didn't get around to fully completing. So what I want is
So how
just,
come there's 5 threads?
because the colors I was trying to represent from the country.
But how come they don't match the red? How come they don't match the colors in your?
I was in the middle of trying to format it all.
So actually, the lines at the bottom should match the colors that are in the chart, the bump chart right above. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just need to finish that.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm just thinking because you have to slide through each of those in order to see
what that was meant
the
to do is
temperature
just
change.
a simple play, so sort of like what AJ has,
Right.
where you press play and it goes across the centuries, and then these charts at the bottom sort of show you how temperatures changed over the decades, basically.
Okay.
I didn't get around to completely finishing it. There's still some dashboard actions I need to get in there and
Okay, I got you.
make sure. Yeah,
So you just ran out of time.
yeah. There's meant to be more consistency with the colors, so all the colors are meant to represent in the same way. So you can select up here and it will highlight down here too. At present, it doesn't work, but I need to go in and fix that. But yeah, that's sort of what I came up with out of today.
That's a neat idea. Yeah.
Any questions?
The rank, is that called a bump chart?
That's correct, yes. Yeah, so it's gone. I like how it looks because the lines are a lot straighter than.
And there's not too many of them either.
Yeah. So I mean, there's 28 Caribbean islands in total, but this data set only has 14. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning on doing that in the first place because I was like, right, if you've got 28, it's going to be very messy and a mega clash of colours. Whereas 14 is sort of just the right amount of number to.
Yeah, I tried through all the NBA franchises and it just looked a complete mess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of.
You could just show a top 10 as you can see people entering and exiting the top 10.
Yeah, they would disappear from the bump chart. Yeah.
Yeah, the only issue with that, I make bump chart a bit messy in the sense of some points will be starting over here, some points will be starting over here, some will be starting right at the end. So it won't be too full, but yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from with that one.
Cool. Good job. All right, one more, Lee.
That's a go, guys.
Last of this.
Yeah. Tuesday.
Tuesday. Good job, everybody. You guys were doing everybody. Yeah. Survived it, beat it, won it.
Such a good friend, you're already leaving him, and you're supposed to be his best friend.
6 months. Yeah.
Just getting rid of the trip hazards.
Is everything Caribbean?
Intermission.
I gotta go, sorry.
That's all right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, see you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm Lee. I'm going to start with today's challenge because it's by far my worst of the week, and I'm not entirely happy with it. So we'll start with that. I went down the route of looking at the North and South Pole for climate change. I wanted to look at sort of melting of ice and that sort of thing, but obviously I didn't get very far into it. So I spent some time grouping out the data so that I could have countries or states that fell within those polar regions. And then, I just wanted to look at how the temperature changed over time. So this first graph sort of shows that over the time period that the trend has gone above zero, and that this is leading to the ice caps melting. And then following that, looking at recent years, let me just get rid of this. I just sort of took a snapshot of the most recent years where it sort of went above that zero line, just to show that again, the constant is above the zero line for melting. But I didn't get very far with it. There's much more information that I'd like to put into it at this point. But I also tried to sort of put in a time-lapse video as well, which should work, but it doesn't for some reason. I thought that would have been a sort of interesting addition to it.
Yep. It might work once you publish it.
Yeah.
Try publishing it to our server and see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ready to go yet. I've got much more.
I don't know why it's not working, because it worked. Works on my computer.
Even the link you provided.
Yeah. Okay.
Strange. Anyway, so that was that. I'm not going to lie, I'm sort of out of mental capacity.
If you could start again, would you choose the same topic?
Probably not, no, because this is the thing. I kind of fell down a rabbit hole with it, and time just sort of ran out. But I thought I've even sort of done a bit of study on this sort of stuff, looking at how much ice caps have reduced over time, and it's shocking. But I think I'd need additional data, supplementary, to sort of tie in actually over the years how much has the ice reduced, and that's kind of where I was going with it, and I didn't think about the data so much. So but this is a work in progress now. So I'll move on to probably my favourite from the week, going back to day 2, where we had either the beer group or the wine group. So Mina was in the wine group, I was in the beer group, and he gave us a lovely API that we spent a few hours on and couldn't get to work, so that kind of set us back a bit. So instead I went elsewhere and decided to find some additional data. So I went over to...
People that data that doesn't work. It happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, it happens.
The API's locations were different to the website locations. That's what we realised. It was completely shocking.
So I went to my good trusty friend Kaggle for a good data source. I quite like Kaggle. It's very useful for a lot of different sources. But yeah, I found one that was craft beers of America. So lots of different types of beers, and then different breweries as well in America. And you could link them by the brewery ID, so you could then say which breweries provided what types of beer. Yeah, so I chucked them straight into Alteryx. It was quite a simple workflow. Just joining the two different CSV files. I uniqued the beers because there was multiple types of beers. You were saying that they update the labels sometimes and that sort of thing. So there was multiples of them. Then I wanted to. I was trying to generate a URL for each one to bring back a picture of the beer, because on the website where it's from, if I go back to here, it was taken from this site called Craft Beers. And if you inspect, where it comes up there, but if you inspect here, let me just inspect it. Oh, I've gone to Elements, sorry. Is it console? Oh god.
Right, Elements is fine.
Elements is fine?
Yeah,
It's just gone crazy. Anyway, there is a link for the picture in each of the entries, and I was trying to generate that, and it looked like it was just the name of the beer, but once I did it, I found it wasn't necessarily true. So sometimes it was just like the first word or that sort of kind of thing. But now after the stuff I learned yesterday on actually generating that sort of stuff, I could do that and add it to my viz, which is what I'll probably do. So yeah, anyway, go back to the workflow. Just simple data cleaning, really. So if I show you from the join, I managed to join them up. The breweries to all the beers that they produce. Yeah, just general data cleansing. I can't really remember now.
I think he's on about 3 hours of sleep for the week.
So I'm going to skip over this because I can't remember, unfortunately.
I think
anyway,
it's pretty much just doing some cleaning up, right? Yeah.
But this is what I produced. So yeah, it showed on the map on the top right, that's the number of breweries in each state. The darker the colour, the more breweries. If you select one, so let's select, say, Texas, it will update on the chalkboard and show all of the breweries in that state. And then what you can then do is hover over these, and the scatter plot will show the beers that they produce. This scatter plot is of bitterness and alcohol content compared to one another. And you can just see sort of the range of these that they produce. And you could also, if you wanted to inspect further, just select them and they would stay. And you can sort of start looking at the actual individual values. Yeah. And then after that, it was just looking at the top beers in that area by alcohol content or the bitterness value. You could choose the top amount you wanted to look at. So say you just wanted to look at the top two. And then you can sort by the bitterness value or the alcohol content to see which were the most in that area. And then ideally, yeah, like I said, I'd like to just have that picture come up in the tooltip from that link. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Any questions on anything? All right, cool.
Any kind of feedback overall?
It's given us a few good ideas for the stuff that we're up to.
Okay, good.
So we're exploring using Tableau right now, and the pipe stuff. For me, we work a lot on streaming data, so OTT website streaming. It would be fantastic to see rebuffering rates over time, how it's sort of how a lot of issues in our streaming data comes through. Your stuff with bump chart you did today around what's competition that's actually driving customers to our base.
Okay.
So EPL, Premier League, Liga, sorry, any other competition, the bump chart stuff that you guys showed Yeah, I think the main difference between all the stuff that you guys showed today and the stuff that I've been doing is that we were stuff that was all like infographic kind of based, like how to play around with this, whereas our key stakeholders are people who are looking for answers. And for example, one of the things I built was a baseline report that looked at, I could actually show you, it might be easier. Yeah, can I back it up?
Yeah. Is it on your tablet public or have you got your?
Oh yeah, well let me. Well,
Yeah.
before I guess we'll close the presentation out because we've got a couple of people online they won't be able to see. So there's nobody anymore. Anyway, good job, Lee.
Yeah.
Well done. And well done to everyone for the week. So nobody died. So that's I haven't quite broken anybody yet. Lee was the closest, I think. But all right.